Hello and welcome to another weekly episode of the Beer Fridge podcast. On this week's episode, we raise the bar a little.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Your home of real beer, real breweries, real opinions, the Beer Fridge podcast. As always, whenever you listen to this episode, make sure you subscribe, hit that ding-a-ling-a-ling to be notified of every single episode. If you're watching on YouTube, hello and welcome along. Do exactly the same. Push the subscribe, hit the bell button, be notified of every single episode. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Search Beer Fridge Podcast and show your official support behind the patreon.com/beer Fridge Podcast. And my name is Gavin. I've got one drinking buddy this evening in the form of Scott. Good evening, mate. We've got one who's running late, and we've got another one who's pretending to go, or not pretending, seeing a big mouse in fucking Paris.
The big moose.
The big mouse.
The big moose.
The big mouse, indeed.
Terrible. And then the other one's tardiness is well noted.
Very well noted.
Very
Fucking
well noted.
Part-time. Looking forward to this one, though.
I must admit.
100%. All for the better. But looking forward to this one, we've got returning guest in the form of Harry from Dookit. How you doing, mate?
Hello. I'm not too bad. A bit
Long,
shattered, but the sun's shining, so no complaints.
exactly.
Correct.
Long time. About 3 years since we last had you on, which does not seem like 3 years ago.
That is insane. Like, time flies when you're pulling your hair out.
Working hard.
Time
I definitely
flies.
had more hair since last time I actually, that's 100%.
That's why we're not far away from you. That's why the two of us are wearing hats.
Oh, I know that trick. Yeah.
Yep. Hat is yes, permanently on, pretty much.
Mhm.
But no, looking forward to returning guest in the form of Harry from Dookit. Some big things happening with Dookit, and we'll get into that in a second. We'll start off as we normally do, go around the table, see what we're drinking to kick things off. Gilroy, you've just emptied your fridge with another beer. What have you picked up, mate?
So I must thank exponentially the guys at Brewtown and Peterhead for helping me out when I made a faux pas. One of the pitfalls of ordering beer when you're already 3 or 4 deep of an evening and placing an order for beer that you should have ordered 2 or 3 weeks ago, a sour for your partner or better half. The kind of lilt number I meant to place an order for some of that, I forgot. So rushed on after having it cast up at me, rightly so. Went on and placed an order, but inadvertently placed it to be left at the bar in Peterhead, which is always a bit of an issue for me on the Central Belt. So to save me the long journey, they very kindly packaged it up and posted it to me. I'm currently having their collaboration with Chainhouse Brewing. It's called Life in the Fast Chain, so the pun gun's firing again as per usual. It's a New England Pale Ale. It's 5.2%. It's excellent. It's everything you want for that kind of style of beer. Perfect for when it's a wee bit. I'm not going to go as far as saying sunny, but the sun is, the golden ball is in the sky still, and it's dry outside. And I was out walking the dogs earlier this evening with shorts on, so it must be okay.
Where are you based?
Yeah,
Where do you stay?
Bathgate.
Okay, yeah.
Sunny Bathgate. So it's not too bad at all.
It's turned around today for sure.
Yeah, definitely for this morning. Definitely. So this is Motueka, Cascade, and Citra double dry hopped with Vista. Bring fresh honeydew and papaya flavors. It definitely has that. It's got all the tropical fruit that you're looking for. Decent body, lovely lacing in the glass and stuff already. Only 2 mouthfuls in, and I've been really impressed. So yeah, definitely, if you get the chance to partake, I would definitely go for anything they've got. That was just a whistle stop tour. Put the 4 sours in and then went round about the gauntlet on the web shop and see what else was there to fill a box up. And I've been impressed massively so far.
Is our Bruton our previous experience of Bruton anyway, and our negative opinion of them, which we did have previously, is it sounds like it's swinging.
Totally flipped on its head, I would say. As long as I didn't delve in for a Mango Unchained, I must admit. I steered clear of the Mango Unchained for obvious reasons, because that was the beer that I thought was a bit before, years and years ago. So I didn't but having taken the plunge with this stuff at random, I'm definitely going to go back and try a Mango Unchained, but only once we've had it confirmed that it's a good batch.
Yes, that's
What was up the Mango Unchained batch?
Brutal didn't make they don't make bad beer. It's just that we've picked the wrong batches every time. That was a source of regret when we spoke to them. They were saying, "Fuck, we've brought Mango Unchained to us this time, and we've fucked it again." Right. So twice I've tried it, and it's not been 100%. But everything else I've tried so far, including everything that we had at the Big Swally as well, has been excellent. So definitely go for it. Go all in. Build a box. I think that was £48 for a box and filled all the slots in it. So very reasonably priced and stuff as well. And if you so happen to make a rip roaring arse getting the delivery done, somebody can very kind only once for me package it up and send it to me.
You are a funny.
Just a twat. So what are you having? Gav.
Me, I have. So
tell us what you're having.
Yes, I've just finished. So this is technically brewed by Round Corner, but it's one of these Stormtrooper beers, one of these fucking Star Wars beers with the Stormtrooper on it. So it's Storms a Brewing, American Brown Ale. I've discovered it's technically Round Corner that make it. It doesn't say it on the can, but if you type in the postcode, it's Round Corner. I was expecting this to be really shit because it's came in it's a Moonpig gift basically. So I wasn't expecting much from this. It's fine.
It's got
it's wet.
British
it's
Home
not
Stores now defunct vibes about it.
150%.
Very much British Home Stores.
It's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. 5.4% American brown ale. It's fine.
Did it come with a tin with a bar towel and a commemorative glass?
It came in a tin. Yes,
that was very much being BHS's forte. 100%. A bottle of Spitfire, 2 bottles of Spitfire, and then you get the tin with the commemorative glass and towel.
Aye, I was
but
missing.
Immediately got the best thing about it was that the tin, you could cut a slot in the tin and keep coins in it.
Oh, aye. Wife's already done that. Already been done. But the beer I'm drinking now.
I found out recently there's a lot of Spitfire beer in Glasgow. Actually, there's a lot of it being sold up here, but just under. It's not a Spitfire.
What have we called it?
Well, I don't think I can name names, but there's quite a few bars just like get in it, and it's like the house lager. But I mean, it's nothing wrong with that. No shade. No. It's a good lager.
It's a good beer. Yeah.
It does the job.
Hearing that. Well, yeah. It's funny hearing that name. Being like, oh yeah, Spitfire, yeah.
the one beer that the beer I'm enjoying now, and I got to try it fresh out the tank on Saturday at the tap room is from Beak. It's a new beer, Anchovy. It's an IPA, 6.5%. Don't look into the name. It's not got fucking fish in it or anchovies in it at all.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure. But this is absolutely spectacular as always from Beak. Kind of watermelon, lemon.
As soon as you get beyond Beak IPA 6.5%, I don't think you get it could the rest of the ingredients, the rest of the stuff in it could be anything. I think it would still taste pretty good.
It's tasting really good, to be fair. Watermelon, kind of lemon share a bit on the nose, and then it's piney, slightly vanilla, and maybe like a bit of berries on it as well. So again, they do things spectacular as always, and I'm tremendously lucky to live 15 minutes away from the tap room, or 20 minutes probably.
You must be nearby. Yeah, I'm seething with jealousy.
Yeah. I've got.
He sent me a video, Harry, at the weekend with him having snuck in a few beers at the tap room, and then he was just listening to a random jazz band. So all of a sudden there was just a double bass player just hammering away, and I was like, "Oh Christ! How did Anchovy go with cool jazz?"
Sounds very southerly.
Proper, honestly, proper fascio vibes. Proper fascio. I was just waiting for the guy to turn around at the bar and just go jazz, smooth jazz. But no, it was
brilliant.
Good stuff. It was good stuff. It was Also, it's weird that the food truck was Indian food. So like there was like freshly made poppadoms and like chutney and stuff. So proper like posh wankery vibes, not gonna lie. Bombay mix was flowing. So yeah.
I'm gonna let out my posh wankery vibe now and say that's quite a good pairing for like super hoppy style beer and like fruity curries, fruity and spicy food. I don't know. It's a weird pairing.
It was a weird pairing. I didn't dive into the spices. I just took a couple of poppadoms. That was it. That was my whack. Harry, what you got yourself?
I'm going to shout about another local brewery. I was in Your End this morning, visiting my good friends Phil and Ewan over at Simple Things Fermentations. Great Glaswegian brewery. Picking their brain about some equipment and just popping my head in, saying hello. And they very kindly gave me their very fresh New Zealand Pale, 4.8%. This is part of their kind of hop forward, newish range. I can probably say and be correct. It's they're leaning into the hoppy, fruit forward trend that will never go away, and quite rightfully so. And it's very good. Here it is in the glass. It's super
lovely.
It's lovely.
Very, very fresh. Yeah, it's hopped with motueka in the whole leaf motueka in the kettle. As an aroma addition. They told me it was similar to how I add, exactly the same as how I add aroma hops. So between 17 and 80 degrees, or similar to how everyone, I guess, adds aroma hop. I don't know. But if you really want that kind of the aromatic to shine through, I think take the temperature down to about at least between 70 and 80. I used to do 85, but you can definitely get away with between 70 and 80 easily. Anyway, not to get too technical, it is very nice. It's really, for 4.8%, it's got a great body. And the smells are amazing. Yeah, was it motueka? But that's only as an aroma. I think they said it was dry hopped with Nectaron and Nelson Soap. You have to look at their posts. I can't confirm that. But
I'm lucky enough that my local bottle shop down here has stocked that, and that was I managed to have that Friday evening. I just took it out of the fridge.
One of your train beers, was it?
Yes, that was a pre-train beer.
Right.
So that was an early door one, and just
quite good to live somewhere where you're still allowed to have beers on the train, technically. Harry, because up here you get reminded every time you walk. It's like it plays automatically whenever you cross the threshold in a Scottish train station. That beers are banned on our stations. Beers are banned on our lines. Right, okay. It does say alcohol, but every time I hear it, I hear beer. Beers are banned.
Beers are banned. But no, I was lucky enough to have that as well the weekend just passed, and it's tasting lovely. One of our favourite phrases to use is NZ hops.
NZ hops.
So absolutely loving that.
Smashable.
Right, smashable indeed. Like we said, got Harry back on the podcast after nearly 3 years from Dookit. He's joining us. Like we said, how time flies, but also how things have changed since we last spoke to you 3 years ago. Things have came on.
Not too much, have you?
I've been up to much.
I'm still here, still brewing commercially. That's
amazing.
been
That's
busy.
a testament in and of itself. But what I suppose
Yeah.
how have things changed over the past 3 years? Then give us the highlights.
Oh, so that was summer 21.
Yep.
Year on since the business was founded. Yeah, I mean there was I guess that was super fresh, slightly naive enthusiasm. Summer 21. I mean everyone was drinking at home to some extent, not in the
Yeah.
summer, but there was, I came into the industry where small pack was everything. So my focus, like in the small pack, was everything really. Like getting the aesthetic right, getting the product right, trying to get a USP or some sort of USP with the bottles, the bottle shape, the labels, the shape, and everything like that. But then since then, from a consumer point of view, obviously pubs came back to life, thank goodness. And yeah, just trying to adapt to just getting back to some sort of normality, which was not at all the same as normality before. But just trying to adapt the business away from the small pack to try and get to draft and finding that the difficulty selling draft beer at a price that would mean that I could actually keep, make enough money for the business.
Yeah.
I'm still not doing. Yeah, it's all part of the learning curve. So yeah, I don't know. Like, that's
if anyone, I want to make sure as well, because like I said, it's been 3 years since we did speak to you, and there's potential listeners who haven't tracked back that far to listen to that episode. But like you touched on it there, you were doing a lot of kind of smaller batch stuff, and and still are like foraging for your ingredients and stuff, and doing things that kind of way, and almost slightly more organically than other breweries may be doing.
Yeah, it's definitely. I started. I think that's a good word to use, organically, because I started the brewery with an opportunity that came out of the blue, so to speak. There's a friend who had a brewery who was expanding, offered me tank space for a very reasonable rate to start my own thing. So I just had to take it. So there was so many beers, so many styles that I absolutely loved back then. But in terms of like the angle of the brewery, the kind of the thing that the brewery focuses on and wants to achieve and produce is like that's kind of formed in the time that the brewery has since the brewery's inception. So, along the way, I've taken great influence from breweries of old, as in of the olden days when I started getting into craft beer, like Colonel and several others, but mainly Colonel, really, because I'm from London. So they take a hold, but also up here, there's a really good scene of several different independent brewers: Apocal, Simple Things Fermentations, Upfront Brewing. You got Paisley, two towns down from Paisley, and then several other Glaswegian brewers and breweries that have, you had Bowden, and you had Bongo Brew Company. Sadly, no longer commercially trading, but there was like a real kind of scene. There's definitely a good scene that's on has been on the up for a few years and everything. But several of these brewers in the last 3 years, I would say mainly Upfront, Simple Things, and Apocal, have definitely influenced my outlook. And I mean, not only these breweries. I'm looking at Buxton and the Peak. I'm just seeing all these kind of breweries that have looked at traditional styles done something really interesting with them. Looked at their looked at provenance as a key point of interest, and making sure that sense of place is communicated through not only your brand but also your output. And this all sort of interested me alongside wanting to use local ingredients, not only from a sustainable approach but from a creative approach. I found great friends in Slow Food Glasgow, which is part of the slow food movement, which is an international movement, promoting slow food practices, i.e. using local produce, using sustainable methodologies when making and producing food. So all this kind of stuff has inspired me, influenced me, and made me hone in the ethos of Dookit Brewing, which is to use locally sourced ingredients, which are not usually used in beer or rarely used in beer.
Yeah.
And not at all treat them as a gimmick. Not at all. Like really experiment, have an idea, get creative, and that's the fun bit. That's the real fun bit that I love. But then, right, I want to brew an oyster stout, for instance, which I did last autumn, winter. What am I going to do here? What's available to me? And then source the ingredients, and then experiment, understanding the ingredient and understanding exactly how much you need to get that flavor that you're after. And so, yeah, I do enjoy all of that, really.
I think that's a nice thing as well. Like you said, like you're looking to use local ingredients, but at the same time you're looking to push the boundaries of those. And Scott, you'll know as well as I do it. A lot of these breweries that we see look to do experimental stuff, and they do it for the fad, and they do it for just to put something on a can that people go, oh, what's that? I'll try that, and they don't really hone in the actual beer itself, though. So to have breweries like yourself, Harry, doing that, like, it makes it worthwhile that the likes of me and Scott picking up these beers and going, right, let's try this oyster beer. Let's try this seaweed infused fucking Nutella beer. I don't know.
Totally. And if as long as people are still curious enough, then hopefully they'll get over that initial and totally reasonable response of, oh, that's fucking weird. But let's try it, and then hopefully they see, okay, there's a craft to this, and there's consideration. It's a funny one. I was speaking to an old friend, Simon Tardeville, who is a brewer and distiller. Since recently left the trade, but always a good brain to pick. I was like, talking about this goza that I brewed with C. Buckthorn, and I was like, I really want to brew I'm really interested in the ingredient. I think I could do something good with it. This was back in just before Christmas, and he's like, oh well, you can. I said, it's been done before. It's several people done before, and several breweries have done it before and very well. And then we were having this conversation, just like we are so far past that point in craft beer of trying to find something completely new.
Yeah,
exactly. Unique. Like, it's impossible. And if you're trying to strive for that, trying to wow people, you're going to very, very quickly realize that people won't be wowed by beer anymore.
But that's where you get all these silly things that start getting made. All these funky colored beers. I seen one last week that's like fucking neon light blue, and then
I saw that this morning actually.
And then mad
the Hawaiian. Is that the blue Hawaiian style thing?
I think so, or something. I think it's from Rad Brew or something, and all these mad bubbles.
I thought you were talking about the vault thing. The vault.
Oh no, I have seen that, mind you.
Staggeringly good
I saw this
monster is blue. It's blue Hawaiian, isn't it? A take on that cocktail. I actually read that there was there was a magazine I was looking at that had a recipe for a blue Hawaiian, and it's just sugar upon sugar upon sugar, so it probably works quite well. It's in Vault's wheelhouse. It'll be super sweet,
100%.
almost undrinkably sweet. So it'd be good if they can kind of tone that down a wee bit and make it a wee bit more drinkable. That'll be, but it's going to be wild. I mean, I saw a can as well as somebody had stuff, and it looked like pink, like marbled stuff in a glass. Is what it looked like because of the kind of separation and stuff and the smoothie looking thing. They were talking about it having like my least favorite thing about raspberry smoothies is the fact that it's got the seeds in it, because the seeds just annoy the life out of me. And they were like talking about the beer still having the raspberry seeds and everything in it, and I'm like, if I wanted a smoothie, I would make a smoothie. But obviously, there's some people out there are dying for that stuff, or are looking for it, or just have it for the wow factor. But I'd rather do that with kind of natural stuff and go, wow, I wouldn't have thought about that in a beer, as opposed to, wow, this beer's got crisps in it. Or it's based on somebody was thinking about gravy while they were making this beer. Along those kind of lines, or weird cocktails for the by and by if you want to have a cocktail. But I'm an old fart, so I'd much rather have the natural ingredients and go, I wouldn't have thought about putting that in a beer, and then study it and go through it. Like you said, a lot of the Dookit beers are conversation starters or things to talk about, and there's always stuff to pick apart in them, and they're always bloody good. So that's what I like. It's sustainably sourced and local ingredients, but things that are not out there and wild, but are things that make you think and then you can talk about. So they're very sociable as well.
Yeah. Oh, cheers. Thanks for that. I have to say as well, at the same time, I can't ignore the kind of beers that we're talking about there as well, you know, the likes of Vault City and everything like that. And I just can't. I don't think anyone should ever underestimate the British sweet tooth.
Definitely, there's definitely room there for sweeties.
It knows no bounds, and
definitely.
don't get me wrong, I like a full-bodied beer with some residual sugar, and yeah, I mean that goes to show that what they're doing is so impressive, because they can produce these beers en masse. They can kind of complete that innovation cycle every other week or something, and
that's
still
crazy.
Yeah, right. So I can't do that, and several breweries, you know, I've talked to several brewers are like constantly feeling that pressure of like innovation. Like, you know, if they're bigger than if Dookit was bigger than it when it was, and I think I could totally relate. You're chasing the innovation, you're chasing, you know, consistent high quality, and then also chasing sales, because you can get those two things and you can still be like, why is it not happening for me? And it could be X, Y, and Z. And the big one being just because the economy's in the pan.
Yeah.
But
people have got to have the disposable income to go looking for a blue Hawaiian themed beer.
Yeah. I think I get that's making me do like things like, you know, the beers that I really am passionate about, but also brewing beers like the one in the tank right now, which I'm calling Treat Yourself Silly, which is a riff off the Treat Yourself beer that I do, which is a blackcurrant kettle sour inspired by a Kia Royale cocktail. So super blackcurranty, super creamy, quite sour. So I'm doing that this summer, but adding more fruit, like 3 times the amount of fruit, and calling it Treat Yourself Silly. It's absolutely stupid. But there's me almost just seeing like how the demand there in the market for heavily fruited sour beers is very much still there. And from a geeky point of view, I really enjoy trying to make them as good as possible. From a personal point of view, I might drink 1 or 2 bottles of it myself. But people love it. But yeah, there you go. You just got to kind of.
I mean, talking about trends and talking about market kind of and pushing trend and wanting to get those new bits and expand the kind of range you've got in terms of getting customers in. We know Dookit as aesthetically with the stumpies and the artwork. That's
Yeah.
not. It's not that it's changing, but you are going to be having some beers in 440ml cans.
Yes. The first batch. has
Are they
been-
440ml cans that are shaped the same shape? I assume. Maybe the most novel 440ml cans going. That would be good.
They are after I go
Like-
at them. Yeah. Letting out my frustrations. Yeah, I've succumbed to what I like to call the 440 fetish.
Yep.
It's just not going away anywhere.
Nope.
And I totally understand it after just drinking a 440ml can myself. It's a very good amount of liquid, isn't it?
It
does work.
It's schooner, isn't it? It's that kind of a pint has always been an absolute ridiculous measurement of liquid to consume at any one point. Yet our culture has continued to reinforce it throughout the ages.
See, the mad thing is, right? See,
Completely
on-
conditioned to drink pints. So
on that, like I said, I was in Beak at the weekend. I walked in and I was like, I'll have a pint of parade. Sat down. I was like, why the fuck did I get a pint? Like, I very, very rarely, when I go in a craft beer place, I'll get a pint. And I was like, oh, a pint of parade. Sat down and I was like, why did I not get 2/3? I normally get 2/3. I was like, what the fuck?
yeah.
My natural reaction, go, a pint. Fucking
That's
hell.
muscle memory there, yeah.
It's the I was in the Hanging Bat, which I'm sure you'll have been in. I don't know you've been in, Gav, in Edinburgh on Lothian Road, and they're big proponents of. I think it's maybe 4 or 5 different places, not just on the menu, but 4 or 5 different places. It says no pints, and like capital letters with exclamation marks on the end, because everything's thirds. Like it's 2/3 is standard,
Yep.
and then a third if it says it, which means the percentage is wild. But they've not got any pint glasses. I don't know whether that's because they got the 2/3 glasses really cheap, or and they're still working their way through them. They've not had the breakage that they thought they would have. But they don't have any pint tumblers. It's all 2/3 glasses, and everything's 2/3. And it's the Hanging Bat's always been like that. I don't think I've ever had a pint in the Hanging Bat ever. So there are some places, but it's very rare. It's always pints.
Yeah.
I think it's.
It means you get further along the list.
Yeah, true. At this point of the podcast, we introduced the back shift has now arrived. Good evening, Mark.
It's good
Good
you
evening.
turn up.
I'm here, aren't I?
How you doing?
I'm good, my man. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good.
Hopefully the numbnuts were kind to you to kickstart the podcast.
Oh,
What?
we've had a lovely time, haven't we?
Exactly.
Yes. We've been chatting about super duper fruited sours, blue Hawaiians, and natural ingredients ever so slightly, and then you appeared. So just while we were talking about novel concepts, you've used your head.
I was going to say, I thought the natural ingredients, and then the balded man shows up, I suppose.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
Do you have a beer, sir, or are you sans cans?
I've got one sitting here. I've literally walked in and turned the computer on, so I've got one sitting. So I'm going to let it kind of settle before I get stuck in. But a wee triple point hazy pale sitting here, ready to go.
Very good. Well, while you warm yourself up to that beer, I think this is a fantastic point to talk about a certain beer festival and a beer competition that we are Beer Do, Raise the Bar. If you're not aware of it, then I don't know where you've been, to be honest. Because if you go to the We Are Beer festivals, you'll know of Raise the Bar. It's a competition they do every single year. It's open to breweries who I believe, I can't remember what there's a requirement. Is it a requirement with the age they're brewing?
Yeah, so it's
like 2 years.
After 5 years. It used to be under 3 years, but then COVID happened, so
that fucked
they
that.
added the 2 years that COVID took away, which is I'm very pleased about, because as a business 3+ years now. So yeah,
just over 3.
so yeah. Any brewery that's been commercially brewing for under 5 years is eligible to.
And certain eligible winners in the forms. For me, one brewery, in fact, 2 of the breweries that have won it alongside yourself are fantastic, and you're up
Just
there
2?
with them. I can't speak another one because I've never had them before. So you've got
Who?
Ideal Day Brewery in Cornwall. They are a Raise the Bar winner, along with Xylo and Margate. Fantastic beers.
Oh, aye. Yes, very
And
good.
you remember them, Scott, from
Yep, I've still got my wristband.
Brew London?
Yep.
Still wearing it? Is that one of the cool
No,
kids that has
no.
the band on for
Nah,
3
it's a
years
cock.
after?
He's
No.
wearing as a cock ring now. And then from London,
Aye, that's it. I should really go to the doctors about that,
then from London. That was
Um,
just teed up for me.
Xylo were brilliant. They
Xylo
were
really
good. I remember that it was like what was it called? What was it one of the yellow? It was
Can't
like the
remember.
Lance Armstrong bands back in the day. They had them. Were giving them out at their wee bar they had set up. So
It
we all
wasn't
got
Brew London.
Xylo.
It was the WRB one.
It was the WRB event last time. They were up the stairs in one of the many. I know you spoke about it earlier with Harry, but the many rooms, turns, twists, and caverns that appear at the WRB event.
Under a fucking Crystal Maze.
It is the Crystal Maze, especially when you had beer and
After a few beers, it's kind of
beer, and then being drenched and half blinded by sweat.
You're just waiting for somebody to shut the door behind you and go, right, you've got 2 minutes to find the crystal.
You've
What?
got 2 minutes to find the crystal, or you're not getting it. If you can make it back to the beer trading card guys, then you've won. You're allowed to have another beer. If you can't, the bouncers will usher you out.
Last orders, isn't it? Just like, right, guys, 2 minutes, find the crystal. It's outside.
Another winner in the form of Great Beyond, based in London, and then of course yourself, Harry Dookit, based in east side of Glasgow, is a Raise the Bar winner. One, congratulations. 2, fucking looking forward to seeing you guys at London. That is going to be absolutely fucking tremendous. Looking forward to it, mate.
It's gonna be
First of all, what beers did you send in?
Yeah, good question. Oh, fuck, I nearly missed the email as well. I'm so glad I missed the
That
email.
doesn't surprise me, Harry, somehow. It doesn't surprise me.
I'm quite on it with the emails. I'm quite on it. Eventually. Why have you sent me some emails, Mark? And I just have
No. I just every conversation we've had, Harry, has either been on WhatsApp or it's been after a few scoops at a festival, basically. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I frankly, I you know what? I had to look back. I had to go. I did that thing where I like woke up early one and I was like, I should probably just go through the hello at Dookit address, and like I did that. I do anyway, but on a weekly basis. Let's do it again, and I did. Oh fuck, that's actually a legitimate email from someone that could potentially be a goer. So yeah, I'm really glad of that. There's a little insight. A parallel universe. No, yeah. So I had. It was January. This is it. January, February, March. It's not. It's not exactly the busiest time. So instead of fretting about not selling beer, I entered the competition with the export oyster stout called No Work Today. That was one of the winter specials. It's a 6.3% oyster stout brewed to export strength and to the export style, so quite high roasted character, high bitterness. Not a full bodied stout, and pretty hoppy as well. That's brewed with cacao husks that are steeped very briefly at the end of the boil. Quite a bit of chocolate malt as well. So trying to get trying to garner this chocolate character, but then balancing that with the bitterness, and also the oyster shells. So this was, I've always wanted to brew an oyster stout since brewing at Canopy Beer Company down in South London. And so wanted to brew one again, but to my own recipe. And yeah, definitely did it justice. I'm not just saying that, or if you don't mind me saying. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really funny one. It was in tank for months, conditioning, and I was just like, I have fucking no idea if it's good anymore. I have no idea. I'm gonna put it out. I think it's okay. It's liquid. It's not harmful, and there's booze in it. Honestly, that is another insight into my head, because like you just go mad after a while. Like this is what I wanted to brew. I think I've hit the nail on the head, but who knows? And then people like came back with really positive feedback, so that's good. So
how do you go, just before you go through the next one, just because this question's been burning since I was reading through the website, how do you go about controlling it or adding oyster shells into that recipe in a manner that's controlled, that you can then, so that it's like you say, it's drinkable, it's what I wanted, and it's no harmful at the end? How do you go about adding that? At what point do you add that in to so that you get all the flavour you want, but you don't fuck it up?
So
without letting away too many of your secrets, right enough, of course.
Well, no, I don't mind giving away secrets. Always up for that. But there's, I think, like just so much research, both in terms of reading and well, I guess it's not research, but in terms of just experimenting with smaller batches, leaning on your past experiences. As I said, I brewed a few, helped brew a few oyster stouts at Canopy, the brewery that I cut my teeth at many years ago. And then kind of cutting off the cut-off point for the research and the thinking. Don't read too much, as the old adage goes. Like, do rely on intuition. Like, brewing is cooking, so if you're adding a shit ton of very, very salty things, you don't go overboard. And then the last thing I'd say about it is everything that you've think that you've nailed, the quantity size, the experiments and everything. You think you've known the right grams per liter, the length you add it'll err on the side of caution, go less, because always with these adjuncts, less is more. I mean, that really goes for spices and herbs, but I think any adjunct with a pretty dominant flavor, be that salinity, umami, spice, you name it, sour, just try and aim for subtlety rather than yeah. So it's
awesome.
All of that really, and then just fucking go for it.
Excellent.
I think it's have faith in your convictions.
100%.
So the long shot is be bold but be careful.
Yeah, and have exactly. And once you've made a decision, swear by it. You can just run around in circles. I think you question yourself.
So did you stick them in the boil, or did you stick them in after?
Yeah.
So with the oyster shells, it was in the boil. Some for 30 minutes, some right at the very end. Nearly blinded myself. That memory has just come back to me. Wear PPE, guys. Definitely wear PPE. When the second time it splattered in the kettle, and a little drop went right there above my left eye, and I had luckily it didn't scar, but I got home that night and I said, found my partner. I was like, yeah, fuck, a little splatter went on my. She went, that's millimeters away from your eyeball. I was like, oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so where fucking got PPE? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So half an hour, and then quite a lot at the end. Right at the end. Turn off the kettle, and I did it then. So yeah, it wasn't. I kind of actually pushed it. Actually, it was up at kind of looking at the parameters of several recipes that I've been a part of, and several recipes online that I've brewed an oyster stout. There was kind of I was pushing it really in terms of grams per liter and length of time, but it definitely worked because there was a lot more going on. So it really
Right,
kept
sounds good, mate.
other flavors in check. Yeah.
Sounds really good. So you sent in the oyster stout. Was it just the one beer you sent, or you sent in a
Oh,
few?
you got sent in 3 beers. So I sent in
Right.
that, the Balamara, which is a goza with sea buckthorn, and the Lupo Pills, which I was drinking earlier. It's an Italo Pils, Italian style Pilsner. A little homage to Agostino Arioli of Purifica Italiana. He's the first one to brew a Italo Pils, dry hopped Pilsner, German Pilsner.
Nice.
So that was lagering in tank over the cold Glaswegian winter. Sent that in. And yeah, they like that one. They like the goza as well.
Sea buckthorns are really on trend with chefs' kind of ingredient, isn't it? Sea buckthorn. It's always that tends to split opinion. I think in people that are eating it, it's one of those kind of there's just as many people who think it's as our major proponents of sea buckthorn. I think it can be an acquired taste if we use it too heavily in things. But I remember watching your master chefs and Great British Menus and things like that, and seeing sea buckthorn make an appearance a good few times. Thinking
Yeah.
along the
Yeah.
lines of the other one is dashi. They'll never get away from it. Like Great British Menu loves a dashi. Can he get?
And
Can he
you
go?
never
Can he
know.
go 2 menus away without having dashi in there, which is just it looks like soup.
If you wanted to know who the foodie was of the podcast, there
Yeah.
you go.
Well, as if you can't tell every time I get up. You can see, you can tell immediately who the foodie is. But aye, it's a sea buckthorn's a big Great British Menu MasterChef thing. So for a goza though, it works. It definitely works with that style.
There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, definitely a foodie. Yeah, I mean the sea buck. This is maybe a good way to talk about like using these adjuncts. A good reason to talk about them really, because yeah, we talked before you got on, Mark, about like these out there ingredients or these adjuncts that usually don't really belong in modern beer come into play, and of course they have belonged in modern beer for quite a few decades now, but in a way of like, look what I'm adding to this crazy beer, and please buy it, sort of thing. And actually, if you if you take it with a bit of consideration and have that real foodie approach, you can like look at this ingredient and be like, right, what is it actually giving it? Why am I using it? I'm not just chucking it in. And if I was to just chuck it in and hope for the best, then that's a missed opportunity. So I mean, the oyster stout and the sea buckthorn goza both had this like similar approach of, I really want to use this ingredient. How am I going to use it? And then leaning on friends in the industry, not in the industry, who have like access to these ingredients, go foraging for them, have them to spare. I was like, right, can I have some, please? And can I just get geeky about it? And yeah, I mean, I found that in the past with like that's worked really, really well. Just simple experiments, just like doing ratios, 10%, 20%, 30%, 1% to 10%. Like with the sea buckthorn, I was warned from 2 good friends who are brewers, don't use it. It's astringent. It turned every beer astringent. I was like, it will for sure. It's a yeah. I understand that, but something really exciting about it. Surely, it's in certain quantities, it's not astringent. And so then I got a friend kindly gave me that she foraged, and I was like, right, that was enough for me to do a little experiment. 1 to 10%, anything over 12% of the total liquid, it became astringent. It became pithy and bitter and nasty. Yeah. So, but the annoying bit is like around 8 to 10%, it gets that beautiful. If you put it into a pale beer, that is, it gets that real vibrant, luminous orange color. So I was like, I kind of want that, but then at that ratio, or that quantity, it just takes over the flavor. So
Yeah.
I didn't really want that in a goza, because for me, a goza in its simplest, you can't really say most traditional form, because who knows what that is. You end up with some sort of disease, but have a great time. I don't know. But it's in terms of like a traditional Leipzig goza, you have that coriander, you have that salt, and you have that lactobacillus. And so the three ingredients, along with the malt, of course, you have that beautiful kind of harmony that you don't really need much else. So in the end, I added only, the total liquid is this is the easy maths. It's 1%, 3 liters of sea buckthorn in 300 liters. So yeah, and that wasn't enough to give that beautiful golden orange color, but it was enough to complement the citrus flavor that you get from the lactobacillus, and also to give a little bit of like savory, kind of bush-like, kind of grassiness, like a little bit of like dryness you get from the sea buckthorn berry. Yeah, and just like make that acidity just a little bit more complex, a bit more fruity. Yeah, and luckily onto a winner. Yeah.
What I love about
Sounds
this is
amazing.
that, like, you've kind of opened the brain of a brewer, for like people that are listening, because obviously when we normally go through this, we're talking about the beer and its end form in terms of what's hitting the palate and you pour it into a glass and all the rest of it. And Harry, what you're like, just listening to you going through that, I find it like fascinating that it's about it's not just let's just throw shit at the wall and hopefully it sticks. The fact that you're able to like talk through, you tried this adjunct at 1% to 12% and test batches to understand how it was going to have an effect on the beer, how it was going to look, and then you had to make a decision based on an appearance of a beer, which I think is important now, because let's be honest, branding, how it hits the glass, the whole Instagram like influencer bullshit that kind of we are very much involved with. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
but but at the heart of it, the beer itself is what people are like. Well, I hope so anyway. That's what people are, paying money for, and it's not just it's going to look nice. And I honestly, mate, that was like brewing is cooking, like, and like I totally get it in terms of what you're saying. I just it honestly fascinating, and the thought and the detail, and you're talking about really small batch here at the same time. And in the grand scheme of brewing, 300 liters is nothing. And I say that nicely, of course, but the detail that's going in to ensure that whatever it is that's coming into the keg or the bottle and things that you're having is exactly what you're looking for. I just honestly, and I totally understand why you've won at this, raised the bar, and like it's badass, mate, honestly.
Oh, I really appreciate that, Mark. Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's really kind. Yeah, it's fine. I'm saying to a lot of my like nearest and dearest, it's like have a bit more patience with my endeavors, because like that one, for instance, it's been going like 3.5 years commercially, well with Dookit, and then many more years commercially and homebrewing in between and before that. So I think like getting to this point of just of finessing it really has been a long time in the making.
Can I say, just to add to that, mate? Sorry to interrupt you there, but
No, sorry.
Everything you're saying there is your USP in terms of what makes your beer different. It's not. We speak to so many breweries, and it's, I need to do X and I need to do Y. We've went through the pale movement, the NEPA movement. Everybody done a dipper. We're sitting here we've been blathering for 10 minutes on an oyster export stout and a sea buckfoam goza. But the detail and the precision that you're trying to come across, because you say brewing for you is obviously it's a business, and that's what you're making. You're looking to grow that aspect, but it's about how do I perfect something that is you're getting everything out Crazy Harry's head a little bit and onto a brew sheet and then into a glass, and you're talking about it's taking it's years, and that I think is so important for the listeners to get. Like, it isn't as simple as I've seen a recipe for X Pale or NEPA Y or Lager. Lager's maybe a wee bit different in terms of, because everybody's got their own wee twist, but it's cool. Sorry, mate, I interrupted you again, but I find that that's such a selling point for you and your brewery going forward, and it's a reason why, if you're listening to this, that if you've not heard of Dookit, you should definitely be, and especially when you are going to be at the festivals and stuff. So I'm guessing there's going to be some draft floating around.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. No, thanks. It's so good. It's great. It's so great to talk. Well, it's both great to, talking to you guys. Taking part in these podcasts and also the competition, because that's all. Of course, people do it for multiple reasons, but it's so great to have an opportunity to articulate what the fuck you're doing. Right, this is what I'm doing, and this is why, and this is why I enjoy it. And actually, there is a cohesion going on. So, no, I appreciate it.
I can just imagine trying to explain to the lager drinker of Glasgow that isn't really dived into anything crafty yet, for you to start a conversation based around I've flung some oyster shells in my last beer. I think that would just blow somebody's mind a little bit.
I had a conversation at a festival with one of these said lager drinkers, and he was a really nice top bloke and stuff, really into his beer, and gave the whole spiel about the oyster stout, and his response was, "That sounds utterly pretentious. I'll take half a case, please." Is
that my mate Owen by any chance?
What? It's pretentious. Yeah. And then he's like, "What? You're gonna buy some?" He's like, "Yeah, sounds good." I was like, "What?"
Brilliant.
It's funny. I'm trying to develop. At the moment, the core range beer is just a pale ale. I'm trying to, it's a fruit forward pale ale, but I'm doing it in my own way, using English hops, ingredients as close to home as possible. And I'm trying to develop a second core range beer, which is a lager not too dissimilar from Tennant's. And I think this is a sort of way, at this point where the brewery's at, you want integrity, you want to stay true to what got you into beer in the first place, and what you want to brew, and what people expect of you at this stage after doing it for quite a few years. But then also, right, people like drinking beer. It's a social lubricant. Don't pretend to be this is, and I like going to a pub and drinking 4% lager. I like going to a pub and drinking, an unaggressively hopped beer sometimes, and I like to drink beer that is easy to drink, whatever that means, but not too much of anything. So, and some of the best beers in the world are that. So as much as I do enjoy using foraged ingredients or using these odd adjuncts, at the same time I'm putting, I would say, half of my attention into the Southside Pale, which is this English hopped core range beer, and also a lager, which is, I've got the first batch of it in tank right now. and probably all go into keg. But yeah, it was the idea of having like a 4 to 4.5% Pilsner, Glaswegian Pilsner, similar, inspired by Tennent's in many ways.
Yeah.
But with English hops again, trying to, put my spin onto it, and as well as put as many hops that are grown on this island as possible. Several brewers have said, "What's wrong with European hops? They're not too far away." It's like, well, yeah, but you can also get. We'll see. Let's see what. Let's see
Exactly.
what. And also Glaswegian hops. Like I brew a green hop beer with Glaswegian hops, and the results have been great so far. So yeah, who knows what the future holds? Maybe there is a lager out there with hops grown in Glasgow.
Amazing.
Good use for a good legitimate use for all that hydroponic research that the good residents of Glasgow have taken part in over the past however many years,
Exactly. Sounds good, mate.
Research
and development 100%. So like I said, winner of Raise the Bar, fantastic stuff. Being a winner means that
what I'm really over the moon with, by the way, is that Harry is now, because it's Glasgow and because it's now getting dark outside, he's now looks like one of those people that's hidden his identity.
I just noticed that as well. I was like,
for those that get to see this on video, he now looks like one of the guys that's he's hidden his identity because of the distress that adding sea buckthorn into a beer can have.
I just thought that. I'm like, oh my god, I look like
he's put the light on. We get full view again away from beer, and I know we're trying to talk about Raise the Bar, but you cannot have 6 beers and contemplate those stairs. That's a broken neck waiting to happen.
Yeah. This is.
I couldn't make it down them sober.
You definitely can't. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I would need it's not a stair lift. I would need it's a funicular to get up that.
Our mate Ross, who's a joiner, put it in, and
goodness,
God bless him. He's some genius. And I was like, I came back from a full day myself, and he was finishing up, and he was like, Harry, the brain power I had to use today to figure out them stairs. I'm like, yeah, no doubt, like some serious angles. Yeah, we kind of kicked ourselves in the. Oh, I don't know. We got this in, so guests. I'm in the office right now, which is also a spare room. So we put that in for guests, but half our guests are old age now. So I'm sure I can say that because our parents are not going to be watching this.
That's the type of thing I would do. Put like really steep steps in to make sure folk don't fucking come into my house. That's 100% a thing I would do. And while people can attempt to raise up those stairs, like I said, when I've raised the bar, you will be at all 3 of the We Are Beer festivals this year in the form of Bristol on the 7th and 8th of June, Manchester on the 5th and 6th of July, and then London the 9th and 10th of August.
Yes.
Literally, it's going to be so much fun to see Dookit beers in that fucking parade, almost fucking jumbo sale type vibe of these We Are Beer events, because it is such just you walk in, it's just fucking beer and there's lights and fucking neons. It's ecstasy. It's
very, very cool. That is a very much a playground.
Love it.
Oh, I love it. I fucking think I love those events. And and then yes, we're gonna get a local brewery from Glasgow in the form of yourself and Dookit pouring your beers, which literally cannot wait. It's going to be so good. The one thing I 100% want to make sure I mention and get some more information on from yourself is your collaboration with the GSA communication design and doing the can arts and stuff. I was reading that, and that sounds fucking awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. Oh, cheers. You done your research.
I've been doing this 5 years.
I appreciate that. Yeah. it's a project I'm really enthusiastic about, and it's been so much fun. So Lucy Watkins, who is a dear friend and also a great graphic designer, artist based here in Glasgow. Met her through the slow food movement that I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
She's part of Slow Food Glasgow. Anyway, she made the artwork. I commissioned an artwork from her for the Dukkers lager last summer, which was the first lager that Dookit released ever. Yeah, most of my hair was pulled out over that beer. I would say it was yeah. Won't go into that right now, but yeah, good result in the end.
There's some PTSD in that beer, that's for
I
sure.
know.
I was going to say that's
Yeah, good. Yeah, dope. Yeah. Don't try and make really good lager unless you have quite a bit of money. Just put it that way. or wait for the winter to come, and then you can just relax, and it will do a trick. That's what I'll say on that.
you mean a bit? You mean a bit like all the people hundreds of years ago that like a few years ago, pre-refrigeration, that decided it would be a good idea if we probably made this beer in the wintertime.
Yes, exactly.
Almost like there was a reason they were making it in the wintertime.
That's where we're at. I mean, the craft beer, to stay on this tangent for a little bit longer, the craft beer scene is at a point where so many breweries are doing making beer with similar equipment than I have, as I have, which is, not lagering equipment. So you have good chillers, you have good DIY approaches to crashing your beer and everything. But in terms of lagering temperatures, especially in the summer, you're not gonna be able to do it. So many brewers are doing it in the winter. So much so that I'm realizing, X, Y, and Z brewers up and down the country are releasing a really special lager around January, February, and I'm like to my mate Phil at Simple Things, I was like, let's do a festival. It's like the Scottish Oktoberfest, but in February. It's called Febfest. It's like so many lagers have been released at this time. Let's just fucking do it. And actually, I think it's got legs, but
I think that's a brilliant idea.
No, keep on that.
Yeah,
It's somebody with a birthday right at the arse end of February. I'm all in on that.
I'll put it out there. I'm sure West will be interested in.
I'm sure they would be.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was probably right up the street. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Right, I said I wouldn't linger on this tangent for that long, but I have done and forgot. Yes, so GSA.
Fun enough, the first episode we did with you, Harry, 3 years ago was called The Tangent. Would you believe?
Me? Are you sure? You sure, me? Yeah, so Lucy Watkins did the artwork for that lager, Duckers. And then I was chatting to her in the pub one night, and I was like, the whole one of the angles of Dookit is like, I'm a big art fan. The whole brand is based around celebrating artworks produced in Glasgow. That's why I commission an artwork for every label. However, with the ongoing trials and tribulations of the pandemic, and then the cost of living crisis, meant that business model was not, it just wasn't working in terms of commissioning new artwork every time. I mean, it is still, and I am able to do that. Paying the artists more than myself, for instance, and that's the truth. So still able to do that, and happy for it. But then also you do want to pay yourself, and you should pay yourself. So when Lucy mentioned this idea of, oh look, I know my old tutor from the GSA, maybe we can get together, maybe there's a project to be had, maybe you can work with final year students or students some year to produce an artwork and or some sort of competition, so to speak. I was like, oh, great idea. So she put me in touch with Joe Petty, brilliant person. Been at Glasgow School of Art for many, many years as a tutor. It's Comdes or Descom. I always get them mixed up. But yeah, graphics. department, and yeah, we got this project on the go. It started in September. We met up and we were like, oh, maybe 3 or 4 people be interested. I presented in February to a room of 30 students, 30 artists in their final year. And then I'm sitting right next to, they had a few months to work on an artwork for a bottle label. I presented 3 different bottle beers that were going to be brewed, have been brewed now, due to be released this summer. And they've come back with amazing artwork. I didn't expect anything less, but the amount of students, 4th year students, yeah, so many turned up. And we had a really nice event. I brought down some beer. So least I could do. Hazel Dunn, the graphic designer behind the brand, the Dookit Brewing brand, and the label design, she was there. Tam was there, the photographer, and the guy who does some freelance work for me now. He was there, and it was a really, really interesting and fun afternoon. Like, it wasn't like a critique. We weren't like there being like, let's judge these artworks. We were just saying thank you. Here are some beers. They're all going to get their artworks as well on a mock-up as well, just to help with their portfolio. And 3 beers, 3 winners, and I've got to send that email off tonight, actually. Thanks for reminding me. I've got to do that. Yeah, so no, it's exciting. It's really exciting. And then Joe and I got on so well, and the project was such a success that we were hoping to do it next year as well. So
it's an awesome idea, mate. When I seen it, it's so good. I love the idea behind it, and like you said, for the students, just having that experience and adding that to their portfolio, it probably means more to them than people maybe realize. Having those mock-ups as things done.
More than I realized as well. It's like, I was speaking to my partner Fran, who was at GSA, and she was like, if we were presented with that project, that's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. But I was like, okay, yeah. Sometimes you got to pinch. You go, yeah, I make beer. It's not a bad thing. You're not like, yeah. No, they took it. They really took to it. And I mean, several of the artists that aren't going to be successful winning the project, like the competition, I could definitely see working with as well. So yeah, no, thanks for that. Yeah.
No, excellent cause,
Remember
mate.
to send that email, please, Harry. Would you?
I had to spend the email, mate. Calendar reminder.
To-do list. I mean, this is why we called that episode a tangent, and this is why I make a note of literally every thought that comes to my head.
We'll call this one the unread email. You know what
I mean? Harry, where, for people listening to the podcast, where is going to be the best place for people to grab hold of your beers?
So I tried to have, I guess you're down there in the south coast, and people further afield, and Scotland. I do try and have something on the web shop on dookitbrewing.co.uk. At all times. Try and keep that up. So, but sort of independents up and down the country. Mainly in Glasgow, of course. Yep. Some in Edinburgh. And then I've got a few accounts in London. One in Carlisle now. Yeah. I guess the best thing to say is go into your local independent awesome bottle shop. They usually are so good, not just from a point of view they stock nice beer, but they're a great space to go and just be in and shop in. So just go in and ask if they take it, and if not, why not? No.
If they don't take it, send an email. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Send a pigeon; it'll get to Harry quicker.
Oh God, I've got this PTSD now, Mark, of like, you've definitely sent me an email.
I've never sent me. I'm terrible at email. There's a reason why everyone gets a text.
Mark sent me an email years ago. I've never opened it. I'm Oh,
no chance. No.
If that is the case, mate, I can only apologise.
No, I think you're safe, mate. I think you're
No,
safe.
you're 100% safe.
Like you said, if your local stockist doesn't hold Dookit, give them a shout, point them in the direction of Harry. You can head over to the website that we mentioned, dookitbrewing.co.uk. There's a full list of stockists that are available in Glasgow, and like Harry says, further afield in Edinburgh, Argyll and Bute, London, Manchester, fucking Isle of Skye, up in Oban as well.
If they don't stock it, ask if you can have a conversation with them about both oysters and sea buckthorn and see where they go for there.
Exactly.
If they respond correctly, then send them Harry's way.
100%. You'll also, like we've mentioned, if you are attending one of the We Are Beer festivals, whether it be Bristol, Manchester, or London, that'll be also a perfect place to sample some of the beers as well. I'm looking forward to seeing you in London and potentially the Manchester as well. It's such a great platform to see Dookit, and if you look at the past winners, the list of the past winners is ridiculous, and they've all went on to really good things, and it wouldn't surprise me if you follow suit, to be honest, mate.
Oh, cheers, Gav. Yeah, well, look at that. Appreciate that. I'm looking forward to meeting you properly. Yeah.
Yes.
If you're coming up,
100%,
yeah.
mate.
Definitely.
100%.
Oh,
I've got nothing else on my pad. Dixon, you've just turned out. Anything else you wanted to add, or are you good?
No, honestly, I'm everything that's been said. I'm just chuffed to be able to promote another, Scottish brewery doing it properly. And it's, like you say, it's small scale, but I was going to say the world's your oyster, but that might have been a wee bit of a. I know. It's too easy.
Christ.
Too easy. But looking forward to, like you say, your beer's awesome. I remember us trading beers the first time you had you on in the KFC car park at Hermiston Gate when you were doing the deliveries.
Yeah, it was a nice day.
That was a beautiful day, exactly. And there was beers exchanged in the car park. And that conversation is probably that has probably happened quite a few times over the last 5 years doing the podcast as well. But
that zinger went down a treat, didn't
Aye.
well, absolute winner.
Which one was that? Oh, the zinger.
No,
Zinger.
get a zinger.
That's the
KFC
foodie.
car
That's the foodie giving you. We're getting.
Well, I've never known my good friend to walk past a KFC.
I do like a wee cheeky KFC, that's for sure. But nah,
original recipe.
That gravy, man. That gravy.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That is good. Like I said, head to dookitbrewing.co.uk. Get yourself some of the beers off the website. Get yourself some of the merch as well, by the way.
I know.
Merches look
Love
good.
the skip hat. The skip hat.
Merch
It's
is
very cool
looking-
with a pint tumbler on it. And the
looking-
beanie as well. The beanie looks class.
Oh, cheers.
I need
it's all-
the only thing I'll ask for on the merch front is can I put a request in for a black t-shirt?
A black t-shirt.
It's just,
Only because some of us are more fun and black's a bit more slimming.
Well, yeah. No, you're right.
I'll just need to get on board with the white t-shirt. That's fine.
double
That's
black is what you'll need. Dookitbrewing.co.uk. Go to the website, grab some of the beer, grab some of the merch as well. Head over to Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, search Dookit Brewing. Also, like, follow, and share all their content. While you're at it, you may as well follow us as well if you don't already. Beerfridgepodcast.co.uk as well. That's not even a fucking thing. That's literally not a thing.
You just made up a website.
I just made up a website.
You better buy the domain. You better buy the domain now.
I better buy the night. I've just said it. Search Beerfridge Podcast, on all your social media platforms. You can go to patreon.com /Beerfridge Podcast and show your official support over there, and you can gain early access and access to half pint ideas as well. Patreon.com /Beerfridge Podcast. What has happened to me in the last 2 minutes? Fuck's sake. Also, watch on YouTube, like, follow, and share. I'm going to end this because I am fucking bombing this outro. Until next time, cheerio.
1, 2,